All right, everyone, welcome back to the Stag Project. I'm your host, Sebastian Valentin, and today we're going to be going through another book review. This is going to follow a similar formula as last week's book review, and like I said, going forward, the book reviews will pretty much follow the same way. So now that I just introduced the book, we're going to be reviewing Make Your Bed by William McRaven, U.S. Navy retired. This book was recommended to me by a couple different people, and I've always seen it and found it interesting. When I saw how small it was, I was like, can this book really, make a difference in my life? Am I going to learn from it? But honestly, there's a lot I want to cover with this book. It'll be a shorter book review, but still there's a lot I want to cover because it's a small book, but it still packs a punch. And I think because of its size, because it's only like 100 pages and you could read it in a day, I think everyone should read a book like this. But I won't spoil too much. Let me get into detail with the book review. Alright, so Make Your Bed is a book that follows roughly a similar formula to our last book, The Obstacle's the Way. That one, Obstacle's Way, provides more, I would say, more substance in the sense of more advice. It delves deeper into the stories, and it's not about Ryan Holiday himself. The stories that McRaven puts out, they're all things he experienced or like his friends experienced. So they're personal stories, and I guess that can have a greater impact on some people. So yeah, it still follows that formula. It's just stories, personal stories that are trying to teach a specific lesson. But overall, same formula for a self-help book. That's usually the way they go. They give an example or a story or whatever, and then they tie it back to an idea. Same thing there. The book only has 10 chapters, and the main idea is really to just give advice to a younger audience when you're facing challenges along your way, like how you should respond or what you should do in those audiences or in those situations to respond in an emotionally intelligent way. That's what I would say the main point, the main idea behind the book is. So what did I learn from the book? What am I going to carry forward? What am I going to, how am I going to apply this book in my personal life? And I wrote down a few quotes throughout the different chapters and just kind of labeled what I thought each thing meant and each thing was trying to tell me. So something I noticed, the major implication of the book is that it's trying to tell you to watch the habits you form because they're the product of what changes you and how you can change what's around you, thus the world. That's kind of his point, and he explains that in the preface of the book, is that if you have the right habits and you keep consistent with them, not only will you change yourself, but you'll change the people around you, and the people around you will continue that cycle, and eventually you could change the world in that way. It's important to know you can't outright change people, but you can change yourself, which people can look at and decide for themselves that they want to change. That's not really discussed in the book, but I just wanted to throw that out there. One of the quotes I found interesting is, "You search for something that can give you solace, that can motivate you to begin your day, that can be a sense of pride in an oftentimes ugly world." And that's basically, that was in the first chapter. Literally, the first chapter was Make Your Bed. That's about just starting the day off with something right. The whole point of Make Your Bed is the very first thing you should do when you wake up is get a win. That win should be just making your bed. It's a small win, but like the habits that you build, it compounds over time. And you'll start, your days you'll be accomplishing more. You'll be doing more of what you want. But you got to start somewhere, right? He's not encouraging people to just stay in bed or, get up in the morning, get after it, and then make your bed is the very first thing you should do. Or maybe brush your teeth and then make your bed. The point is to really just start your day off with something more than, consuming media or instant gratification, those kinds of things. You shouldn't kind of just fall back into what is natural nowadays, to just kind of be lazy and waste your potential. based on the habits you start your day with. Another really good quote that I found that I really like is that sometimes no matter how hard you try, no matter how good you are, you still end up a sugar cookie. Don't complain. Don't blame it on your misfortune. Stand tall, look to the future, and drive on. And essentially what this is trying to say, like, you can do everything right. And you'll find this often in life. You can do everything right. Every single step was done right. Everything was done to the best of your ability. You gave it your all, and you still lost at the end of the day. That's how life works. Life is not fair most of the time. And the best response to this isn't to sulk about it or to, fall back and just be down about it. And that's honestly, that's sometimes the most common response, because it's like, we tried so hard, we did so much, and still didn't work out, and like we gave everything and it didn't work out, and like I feel like I wasted my time. Like those kind of thoughts start to come to your mind. And I've been personally in that situation where I feel like I've given my all to something and I've really tried hard to get after it and it didn't work out. What I've been starting to realize is that that's okay. That's how life works, and it didn't work out for a reason. There's something better out there. And even if there's not something better out there, which I personally will always believe there's something better, because when one door closes, another one opens. So it's really about that mindset. Don't complain, and don't blame it on life. Like, yeah, life happens, and there's nothing you can do to control that. There's some things you can't do anything to control, so you just have to keep moving forward and be like, okay, if I'm in a similar situation again in my life, I'm just gonna, I already tried my best before, I'm gonna try my best again, and maybe I'll win this time. And if you don't, look for another opportunity. The point is to keep striving and to keep going. You don't want to just stop when something doesn't work out, because you'll stop pretty early, because in life you'll come to find things don't work out pretty often. Another great lesson I learned from the book is how you treat others and yourself socially determines a lot of your character. And there's a few quotes here to just kind of like that prove that to me. So I'll just say them. First one, it's not the size of your flippers that count, just the size of your heart. And that was a really cool one to me, because that chapter was really good. It was about when McRaven was in Navy SEALs training, and there was like this group of shorter guys, and they're like, oh, they're not going to be able to swim faster than us or be able to complete the training, the rigorous training, like faster than us. They're going to fall behind and they're going to suck at it. And they ended up coming out on top over the group of the taller people. And it's because he had a conversation with them afterwards, and it's because his grit, his drive to just be better. He knew he had a disadvantage going in, so he's like, I'm gonna work harder so I can be better. And that's a great mindset. Like when you're going into a social situation, or when you're with other people, I feel like you always want to have that mindset of, I want to be better. Like I want to do the best that I can. That's honestly, because then people see that you're trying to do your best, and that you're trying to give it your all. And a lot of people, they admire that, and they see that as a good trait to have. Another quote, the power of one person to unite the group, the power of one person to inspire those around him, to give them hope. That one is more about hope, being able to be there for people and being able to provide a sense of security for them. Because as people, we crave security. And I'll talk about that in another book review for another book that delves very deep into that. But being able to be that like kind of beacon of light for other people is extremely important. It shows a lot about who you are. And like I said before, like people really admire someone who is there for the group, especially during the hard times. And that's where like leadership comes in. Like as a leader, you need to be able to, like in the face of a very dark situation, you need to be able to stand tall and stand proud, and be able to kind of navigate your team to a better place. You know, like maybe everyone's down because something bad just happened. You need to put on the like, all right, let's get through this phase, you know, kind of guiding everyone through and still being empathetic. You're not just ignoring feelings and all that kind of stuff. You know, you want to make sure everyone gets through to the other side. All right. And that actually segues into my last quote here, which is, at some point we will all confront a dark moment in life. If not the passing of a loved one, then something else that crushes your spirit and leaves you wondering about the future. In that dark moment, reach deep inside yourself and be your very best. So exactly like what I was saying, like in those dark moments, you need to flip the script. It's very common for people to kind of fall back into this state of panic and then just be like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, and they kind of start, they fidget and they get flustered. That's the word I was looking for. They get flustered. And I mean, you don't want your team and you don't want other people to see that, you know, especially like people you're in charge of. They want to make sure that, again, it comes back to that sense of security. They want to make sure they know they're safe, or someone's got their head in, you know, the right direction. Someone's got their eyes open. They want to make sure, you want to make sure you can project that for other people to see. So now I'm going to talk about kind of what I'm going to implement in my life after reading the book. And the very first thing is care more for the people around me, especially in a leadership position. I found a lot of it had to do with leadership, even though it's not a like leadership book per se. McRaven has one, and I'm going to read it and do a book review on that soon. But it just, for me, personal application, like I'm going to be in the military soon, so I want to make sure I'm the best leader that I can be and that I can take care of the people around me. So caring more for my friends and family now and, you know, translating that into the military. Another thing is commit to completing the small things, as it's like the book explained, it'll compound and add up to the bigger things. Also to enjoy the process, because again, it's all about the small moments, the little things, you know, like people often brush them off and we kind of ignore them, but just like it's the small habits that compound into the bigger picture, and that's how, you know, we reach that state we want, you know. I don't want to say pure happiness, because happiness is, it's like a wave. It goes up and down. Like you'll be happy sometimes and you'll be sad sometimes. There's never a constant state of happiness, you know. I guess you could call that joy, and that comes from finding something bigger, something way bigger than yourself, which that is something I'll talk about on one of my more spiritual episodes, religion-based episodes. But yeah, really just committing to doing the small things, no matter how hard they are, just getting them done and being able to see the process happen. And then what I'm going to do personally is be more focused on those habits, especially the ones, not just like habits like, oh, read a book, meditate, like those kind of like generic ones. I want to be more focused on the habits that I carry myself when I'm with other people. Like, how's my body language? How's my eye contact? Am I listening to the other person? Like active listening, you know, those kinds of things. And really the whole purpose of that is to serve those around me. Because once you're serving the people around you, you know, you have that strong base for leadership. And eventually that'll create a strong base within yourself. All right, now to go into the strengths and the weaknesses of this book. The strengths are honestly very similar to the obstacles, the way, like, it's great for people who want to get into self-improvement genre. It's a very short and easy read. It can literally be, it's 100 pages. Like, it can be read in like a day. Like, you can take out a day and like spend 1 or 2 hours and just get the book done. Like, it's very easy. And you don't even have to read the last part. The last part is just his commencement speech. McRaven, like, he does a commencement speech at the University of Texas, and that can be found online. So you can watch basically the last part of this book. So honestly, yeah, great read, but extremely short, which is, it can be a good thing for people who are crunched on time. Again, a lot of valuable lessons and stories that even experts in this field, experts like people who have already gone and like are still going on their self-improvement journey. I don't think there's an end to it. I think you always keep improving, but I feel like you can benefit from going back to it. Like, it's not just I read this book once and like that's it. Like, it's kind of a book you can read every year, and it's, you know, you can maybe see it in a different light from a different because of different experiences you've had. So, weaknesses of the book, I feel like for people who aren't well versed in the military, some things won't make as much sense. He tries to explain them, and I would say he does a good job at explaining them in kind of like layman's terms, but still the excess of military examples, I guess for some people it might not be their cup of tea. So I would say that's the only like weakness within the book. It's hard to find weaknesses in an 100-page book. I'll be really honest with you guys. Like, it's not. I was like trying to find some constructive feedback to give back to the book, but it's hard with 100 pages because, I mean, and the book does what it sets out to do very well. So, my final recommendation for the book, I would recommend this book to anyone who wants a short read and kind of wants to improve, you know, their social standing among peers, like different ways, different habits that they can use and apply in social settings and things like that, just to, you know, be a better person, be a better leader, that kind of thing. I think this book is tailored more towards people in high school or just starting college. I think by the time you're done with college, or by the time you're like 22 roughly, and you know, you've worked a job or whatever, like you do anything in life, by the time you're in your, I would say, early to mid 20s, a lot of the lessons found in the book, you kind of already know them, or you know them in a different way, but you know the basic premise of the ideas being taught. So it's still good to revisit, but really, I think if you're kind of new to this whole thing, it's a very perfect place to start. I would honestly say read this one first and then read Obstacles the Way. Like, those two could honestly complement each other very well if you want to get into this genre. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this book review. Thank you guys for sticking with me through the end. Again, as always, let me know if you want a specific book for me to read. Obviously, it'll take me a bit to get the review out because I have to read the book first, but let me know any feedback you guys have on any of this. I really appreciate you guys being here and, you know, sticking along for the journey. Look out for a video here in the next few days. I'm going to try something different other than a book review. But yeah, just stay tuned. Thanks guys again, and have a great day.